like live. So fuck it. Let's do.
Wow.
So today was supposed to be Bone Tomahawk for from 2015, but instead I watched all three of the S. Craig Zahler. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Zahler looks like the obvious conclusion as far as pronunciation, but I watched all three of them in the course of a week, and I've already seen Dragged Across Concrete, but I rewatched it. I hate that title, by the way. It's clumsy. Dragged
It
Across
is clumsy,
Concrete. It's hard to say.
but it's rough. It's just
It is.
rough.
It's a good representation for what it is, although I think it's a better title for Brawl in Cell Block 99. It's because of what he
Right.
does to the Asian dude. But today we're going to review all three and rank all three of the S. Craig Zahler movies. And you know what that means? It's time for our intro. Where is it? There it is. Oh, citizens, welcome to Hollywood is Dead, episode 146 for the S. Craig Zahler movies. I'm Phoenix West.
Ticket.
So, should we go in order of the movies, or should I go off my rankings? Because my episode will start with the worst first.
I feel like the ranking matches the release dates for me. I prefer Bone Tomahawk. I like both Brawl and Cell Block 99 and Dragged Across Concrete, but I think I like Brawl more than Dragged Across Concrete, so I'm going to put them in release order.
Well, let's go. It's opposite release then. So let's start with my least favorite of the three,
Bone Tomahawk.
Dragged Across Concrete. Look at the background. We're gonna start with that one, I guess, just because this movie is 2 hours and 38 minutes, something like that.
That is the thing with this guy. He likes long, drawn out movies, and they're rough. I mean, these aren't nice, long, drawn out movies. These are hard.
It's not Lord of the Rings.
Edged. No, these are like people die horribly and they do horrible things to each other, and you get to see it in graphic detail.
Yes.
These are not nice movies. They're very hard. They're very rough.
The problem
Dragged
with
Across
this movie,
Concrete is the perfect title.
Yeah. It's just hard to say. Dragged Across.
Yes.
Like, it's hard. I don't know. They clumsy into each other. But anyway, this movie, 2 hours, 39 minutes, according to IMDb. But this movie does suffer from the fact that I've seen the other two. So I'm rewatching this going, all right, they're going to talk for a long time right now, and nothing's going to happen because I've seen his other two movies. He delays. He's really good at delaying the violence until that final 15, 20 minutes. Every once in a while, he'll have a little bit in there, but it's going to be long conversations, random dialogue. I'm not making fun of the guy or putting him down at all. I'm just saying this is the movie that made me realize it was a little predictable because I'm like, nothing's going to happen right now. Nothing's gonna happen in this scene either. Maybe something in this one, and then there we go. Okay, a little, and then nothing in this one, and it was kind of like I kind of was seeing through the Matrix, if you will, and I was seeing the formula more than I was the movie itself. And I didn't think I wasn't thinking about the first time I watched it. This is my second time watching this one.
Well, Dragged Across Concrete, they have more of those kind of vignette moments where you're like, does this have anything to do with the movie? And then you realize, oh, it does. Well, it does because it comes into play later. It's just you're seeing a day out of the life of a character that's going to be executed in about 20 minutes.
Yes, but like also there is stuff that doesn't matter, like Vince Vaughn's wife or girlfriend. And all the
setting up subplot.
I'm not saying it's pointless, and I'm not even saying I didn't enjoy watching it. I'm just saying, really overall, if they cut that, I wasn't really thinking about it.
Well, no, I think the only reason.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the only reason for that character for the fiance it's for the ending because just the whole,
Yeah.
which just makes it worse. Like
Yes.
I just this whole movie is so depressing. When Vince
Yes.
Vaughn's like, "Yeah, I proposed to her, I left a message." He gets shot, he's dying, and he goes, "Well, at least I can hear her voice one last time." And basically, the last time he hears his fiance's voice is basically saying, "I don't want to
Breaking up.
marry you, and
Yeah.
I don't think we should basically see other
Yeah.
people. We should be done with each other." And he's like, "Well, wasn't the answer I wanted, but
That was
I
not
can
the
live with it."
voicemail I
And he
wanted to
dies.
hear.
Yeah,
And he goes,
it's just like,
Mel
oh
Gibson
shit.
goes, "Do you want me to break the phone?" He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Throws. No,
and then he dies because that hostage shoots him because it's a trick. Because the hostage has to crawl out there with a gun. She shoots Vince Vaughn and basically kills Vince Vaughn
yes.
because they told her if she didn't, they'd kill her whole family or whatever.
With her bare ass and genitals hanging out in the open.
Yeah.
Literally dragging herself across the concrete.
Oh, no. These movies are hard.
It's slow. And I knew it was
Yeah.
coming the second time I watched it. So I had to sit there and watch this woman just drag, because it goes on for 5 minutes where Vince Vaughn is the one egging her on, like, "Come on, you're almost there, sweetie. Like, you're doing so well." He's like, he's a cop. Like, deep down, he,
Yeah.
you know, even though they're in this criminal activity, he's a cop. So he's just get like, "Come on, you can do it. You're doing so well." He's hostage negotiating, like, "Come on, you're gonna get out of there. Don't worry, you're gonna get out. Come on, you're doing so well." And then she just goes, pulls the gun and shoots him. And Mel Gibson. By the way, spoilers for all 3 of these movies. Definitely watch all 3 of them.
Everybody die.
This is on
Yes.
Netflix. The other 2 are on Hulu. That's where I watched these 3.
No.
But when I mentioned the runtime, it doesn't bother me. I'm just saying, as a casual audience, I would imagine this stuff would be very, very long for them because it is so drawn out. But I enjoyed that. I'm on, like what you said earlier. It's all important later. And it reminds me of a different director who does that now, and I don't appreciate it. And I'll play a clip from one of his movies that just is just drawing it out for drawing it out's sake, which I don't think that Zahler's doing. But you know who does do that?
I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
What we had her looking like. Everybody helpfully pointed out how the heroin was actually coming through my breast milk, but...
Mm-hmm. Oh,
is that what you thought I was going to play?
No, I thought you were going to play The Last Jedi. The Jedi, the Force Awakens.
No, that would have been a good one, but no, I'm being genuine. It reminds me of a filmmaker I really do enjoy, but his last few movies have just been drawn out, boring, like blaz.
I didn't even bother with Phantom Thread. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, people hated The Master. I liked it because it was drawn out and it didn't really go anywhere, but I was fine with that. I was completely fine with that.
I want to fart in your face. I want to fart in your face.
Inherent Vice was the movie that was like, oh, this is too far for even me. None of this is adding up together.
Yeah.
I was like, I like the idea of this movie, but I just can't finish. I never even finished it.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters.
I need to sit down and watch it.
I didn't walk out.
Maybe you should.
Uncle, pancakes, Uncle pancakes. Josh Brolin loving pancakes by a Japanese man.
No idea.
Great pancakes, Uncle pancakes.
Because it's a storyline that seems right up my alley, but I start watching it, I'm like, oh my god, fuck this! It's so boring.
Hard. It's a tough one. Inherent Vice is hard, but it's based on the Thomas Pynchon novel, and he's a fucking freak show. He's like that. The whole like he's like William Burroughs bullshit, like heroin chic writer bullshit.
Well, like everything is bullshit. Is he the?
It's all hallucinogenic. You got to take drugs to understand the world. Nonsense. It's just like, oh, go away. I hate the counterculture Timothy Leary bullshit. But you know who this guy reminds me of, and who I think
William
to compare him?
Burroughs, S. Craig Zahler.
No, not him.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking of the S. Yes.
No, so Zahler.
Phoenix S. West.
I think Zahler is the more. He's what Rob Zombie wishes he could be.
I can see that. No, that's a good,
because Rob Zombie wants to do all these grindhouse movies.
Specifically,
they're all grindhouse movies
and his.
Yeah, Yeah.
And he achieved it with
He's
one
got
movie. He did one movie that
Devil's
really
Rejects.
worked for what he was going for, and he never
Right,
got back to there again.
And he tries to do it, and it's just his dialogue and he can't write his scripts.
Yeah.
He needs to have somebody else write the script. He can direct it. He's a better director than he is a writer, I think, Rob Zombie. But this guy's a good writer and director, and his movies do, I think, what Rob Zombie wants to do. And I feel like they're in the same vein, even though these aren't horror movies, but they feel like horror movies because they're so fucking dark and they're just like violent, and there's no hope in these movies. Especially, there's hope. There's hope, but it comes at the very end, and it's very bleak. But it does. It's like Dragging Across Concrete has a happy ending, and so does all the other movies to a degree. There's a happy ending.
But I personally, I think his is more, let's do a realistic version of a happy ending.
Right.
And this is my world's version of a happy ending, where in this movie, again, I said spoiler, they all fight over this gold. There's an awesome shootout that lasts like 45 minutes with the van.
Yeah.
With these vague characters. You don't even see their faces, some of them. There's two guys you don't even see.
No.
You never do.
No.
I had to look up on IMDb who the fuck they are. I'm like, oh, it was him. I had no idea.
Yeah, but they're like real actors. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And I could tell in the voice. I'm like, God, I recognize that voice. But he's like the guy with the silencer, semi-automatic, and he's shooting everyone just to get money to buy this van, which gets tipped over 30 seconds into use, which I thought was so funny.
Yeah.
And I think that's Craig Zahler's like weird sense of humor, which is the character spent so much time with that van. Remember that long scene where he's checking it out, like checking, make sure it's bulletproof, and he goes inside and he's like, if this doesn't work, you're fucking dead. And then he gets in the van and they back up, and then immediately he gets hit and it falls over on its side, and none of that matters because he dies right away. Like as soon as he pops his head out, he gets shot in the head by Mel Gibson. He's dead. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like his weird sense of humor in all three of these movies, is he builds up so much and so much and so much, and then it's like, it's over. Moving on.
Yeah.
But it's not a waste of time at the same time. Like it still matters to the overall plot. Like Mel Gibson still matters in that point, even though he dies later, but you're still like,
right.
Because at that point he's doing it for his family, and that stuff is well set up. What was I getting to? The endings, right? Yeah. I got so sidetracked right there. The end. Oh, the happy ending, which is the realistic version of that, is he just gets the gold. The main character, not the main character, the main other guy from the crew.
Was it not Michael J. White?
Yeah, Michael J. White dies.
Michael J. White dies. Yeah,
who's fantastic in this movie. He's just
he is. It's very good.
He has such a calm presence in the movie, no matter what's going on. And I'm like, God, I love this guy. When he has the white face on with Michael J. White, it is so fucking funny. They're scrubbing themselves, knowing. Oh, sorry, I'm all over the place. It's not a great movie, but it definitely is worthwhile because there's a whole bank robbing sequence with they do 20 minutes of Jennifer Carpenter getting ready and going back to work with her after she's done with maternity leave. And then her husband's like, you gotta go. You just gotta go back to work. You have to go. We need money. He needs formula and blah, blah, blah. And she finally gets on the bus and goes to work finally. And then immediately gets shot in the fucking head. And
like violently. Like she not only does she die, but she gets shot when her fingers get blasted off. She goes to the baby, boom, head gone. I mean, they blast her fucking face off. I mean, it's amazing. The violence in his movies are very, very graphic. I mean, he doesn't give a fuck about violence.
This takes up. I'm curious because
it's quite a bit. Yeah, it's about 20 minutes. I'd say because they go to the bank and she's going through like her day. We're following her for her whole time there. It's a long sequence.
Yeah,
and he works with the same people too, because all these actors are in all these movies. Jennifer Carpenter is in this one. She's also in Brawl in '99. Cell Block 99.
Yeah.
She's in that.
It's an actress I can't fucking stand because of her roles
Yeah.
and stuff. Not so much her
Because of
herself.
Dexter.
Dexter,
Dexter.
I fucking hate her.
Oh, Dexter.
I remember Jansen was like, I couldn't stand what they did to Deb. I'm like, when I watched that show originally, I was like, yes, finally, she's fucking dead.
Fucking throw her in the ocean.
Hated her.
Anthony Michael Hall.
My video for Dragged Across Concrete is not working, but anyway, yeah, they kill her so violently. And then the guy I was talking about, the Tory Kittles, he goes and him and Michael J. White are driving. Michael J. White's driving, and the other guy's in the passenger seat. And I always say this: I love conversations and scenes where the character knows what's going on without saying it, and they just you can see the actor get a chance to like process that. It's just so much better for the character to just not say it out loud. Because you're watching Tory Kittles and Michael J. White just communicate with each other that these guys are going to fucking kill us as soon as we get to our destination. And you can tell they're working on a plan. So when it starts to happen, you're like, yes, there you go, go. And it doesn't work out that well for Michael J. White, but yeah, I don't know. I love that whole scene when they arrive at the locker.
Yeah.
And it's a really good movie. I did give this a 7.
Yeah, it's an interesting film. It's one of those movies where you're just like, if you've seen the other two films, like Bone Tomahawk and like I always say, Bone Tomahawk would be easier to get into his style because Bone Tomahawk I feel like it's just more accessible, which is kind of odd to say because it's such a dark movie. It's just more accessible movie for the public to watch.
No,
it's a Western.
I'd say with the 3 movies, Bone Tomahawk or this one are going to be more accessible than Brawl. Brawl and Cell Block.
Brawl's a grindhouse movie.
That is a grindhouse
Brawl
movie.
Is straight up grindhouse movie, yeah.
Yes.
And it's great. I love Brawl. Brawl's actually really good. And Vince Vaughn is fantastic in that movie.
Let's move on to my second movie, my second favorite, my middle one. And surprisingly, it's Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk? Really? Okay, yeah.
I loved
Brawl
and Cell Block 99. I didn't expect to. I really didn't.
Good. Yeah.
Anyway, Bone Tomahawk. This is the first one I watched this week. I've already seen Dragged Across Concrete when it came out in 2018.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of when I was interested in this movie. So I've been waiting for this movie for 8 years, like waiting to watch it. And I'm like, I need to watch that because I like Dragged Across Concrete. And I know I love Kurt Russell and Westerns. So, and it's just one of those movies I just kept putting in my back pocket, just kept not doing it.
Well, I watched this when it first came out because me and Kyle watched it. We rented it because it was one of those. It was a straight to video, like straight to theaters and on demand at the same time release because it was like an independent movie. So we watched it at the house I think we did the podcast on it too back in the day. We watched it and potted about it.
The Midnight with
2015. Midnight with Robert Shaw. We potted about it. Yeah. And I enjoyed it then, and I haven't really seen it since, but I remember a lot. I've seen it off and on since then. Like the whole opening with Sid Haig and fucking David Arquette was pretty good. Yeah. I do like that. I do like that opening.
That scene's not even that long, too. Like looking back, you think that scene was 15 minutes? I'm like, that was like a 4-minute scene. That was it. Like that part, and then that's a little bit longer, but. Just that opening.
Right.
And that's a brutal fucking opening, too. It lets you know the movie you're in for. And it kind of is like, if you're not into this scene, just stop. Just stop now.
You're
done.
I kind of appreciate
that. It's like a ticket checker outside a club. Like, just advising you, like, if you're not into this shit, don't even fucking bother going to this club, man. Because it gets way.
If you can't handle Sid Haig, if you can't handle Sid Haig getting shot in the throat, you're gonna like this.
Well, I think it was way worse when David Arquette leans down because Sid Haig's like, "Yeah, cut that guy's throat," and David Arquette he's sawing in his trachea, and he takes a long time with it, and he doesn't even kill him.
He goes, "What are you doing?" Yeah,
there's 6
I told you how to kill him. Yeah.
Oh, fuck you! You don't know that.
This is one of those movies that had like 25 different people lined up for it at any given time because I guess he wrote this movie back in 2007, so it took that long for this movie to get made. Because I think originally he had like a completely different cast, and Richard Jenkins was hired to be that character, and he dropped out, and then he came back, and Jim Broadbent was going to play that character, but then he dropped out because he had a schedule conflict, and then Richard Jenkins came back because Richard Jenkins is great in this movie. Love Richard Jenkins in this movie.
It took me so long to realize that was Richard Jenkins. Because the first scene you see him in, it's in the dark, and he's like asking for soup, and I'm like, "Who's this old man?" And then he goes and he leaves, and then he comes back later. I'm like, "No," I heard the voice. I'm like, "Oh, this fucking Richard Jenkins." My wife's like, "Who?" I'm like,
"It ain't Xander Berkeley."
Yeah, the dad from
Step Brothers.
Exactly. The dad from Step Brothers, and she's like, "Oh," I always have to relate someone to a movie she's seen, so
Right,
I'm always doing the math in my head.
Dad, I love you, but fuck you.
This place is a fucking prison.
We're men. We like to shit with the door open. I love Richard Jenkins. We've literally done none of that.
So what if I come into the room and I'm taking out the shower and my pubes are hanging out? She comes on to me.
What's the ride on the younger buck?
Yeah. Oh God, John C. Reilly, amazing.
He is. And speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson,
Yeah,
he works with him a lot. But my favorite Richard Jenkins movie is definitely Cabin in the Woods, hands down. But Step Brothers is definitely a second. I was surprised that was
Japanese.
Matthew Fox shows up, and I was like, "Oh,
yes,
Matthew Fox is in this. Okay.
Matthew Fox, who's really good in this movie." And
really,
I was like,
good.
"Wow." And I really like Matthew Fox in this movie.
I like him in everything.
And I didn't like Matthew Fox.
Really?
I didn't. I don't like him.
The problems with his character in Lost are not his fault.
No, well, shit was a shit. It just went to shit.
He has a small role in Smoking Aces, and he's so fucking good in that small role. He's like
good
a dorky, like just trying to impress the guy for some reason. It's the guy from Gotham.
Awful mullet haircut.
Mayor of Gotham.
Yeah. Nestor Cabanal.
Yeah. He's just trying to impress him for some fucking reason. He's got a weird mullet.
I think.
And then he gets killed so sadly. He just stabs him. He's like, "You're okay. You're okay." Yeah. He does the Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
What? It's a sad stabbing. No.
God. Adam Goldberg saying no. So I hate that scene. I can't watch that scene.
But that Matthew Fox one is like one step behind that. It's definitely not as effective as the Saving Private Ryan, but it is one step behind it. With he's just like, it's okay, man. You're okay. You're cool. It's like, don't tell the guy you're cool when you're.
It's almost like Drive, the Albert Brooks scene where he cuts Bryan Cranston's wrists. It's all done. It's over. It's done. Hey, don't worry about it. You're good sleep. That's it. It's done. Yeah. It's done. It's over. Don't worry about it. It's over. It's not gonna hurt no more. It's over.
Bone Tomahawk. It is a very, very good movie. Very well done, and especially well acted. Everyone is incredible in this movie.
Yeah.
And did you have a problem with one of two things? I'm gonna list two things. Let me know if you had a problem with it. Did you have a problem with the tribe, the bad guy tribe, who they're going up against? Like, do you think people had a problem? Part B of this is, do you think people would have a problem with it? Because it's, they had the scene with the guy from Westworld.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Sleep, where he's an Indian.
Yeah,
and he
doesn't
Indians.
Like them.
Really, really explains that they're not Indians over and over.
Yeah.
And I was like, I get it.
Yeah,
you don't have Indians without them being Indians. I get what you're doing. Right. But like, do you think people, or did you have a problem with the eventual weird cannibal tribe they had?
No, because technically that tribe did exist.
Yeah.
They redid the actual. That was a story that came out not too long ago. That archaeologists have redone the whistle that they would make, because they would put that they made those whistles,
but they inserted it in their fucking trachea.
Right. Well, that was the movie. That was the movie. In reality, it was just they put their mouth and used it to scare the shit out of people.
Yeah, they take like Boar trachea.
Yeah, and it is scary. Like they played it and they redid it. They 3D printed it. They found out how to do it, and it is scary. So it did exist. These Indians did exist at one point. I don't know if they were cannibals, but they were. That was just their playbook. They would scare the shit out of you. This psychological warfare.
You reminded me of a news story I saw on TV where it was they 3D printed a pharaoh's throat, like the trachea out of a pharaoh, and they go,
Oh wow.
and they 3D and they go in the depth. Like we 3D printed it and we did this, and like this is the most accurate representation of what a pharaoh would sound like. And then you hear the audio, and it's like literally,
Come
It's
here! No way! Come here!
it.
I'm trapped in a box.
It's the funniest fucking thing. Just
I'm a pharaoh. Well, it's just
what
like
you hear compared to how long the
Right.
description is so
hilarious. Well, it's like with Lincoln. They all said that Lincoln sounded. It was very, very wimpy voice.
Nasally.
It was like,
Yeah, I
"Hey,
think
how are you? I just want to say I'm Lincoln. Hi. I'm just.
he's Napoleon
I'm so
Dynamite.
bored.
I'm the
I'm so
president.
bored.
God,
God. 7 years ago. God.
a house divided cannot stand. God.
Oh, I don't want to go to the play.
That's what I picture because he's so tall and lanky. I just pictured Napoleon Dynamite's voice.
Oh God.
Anyway, sorry.
that's
Continue.
funny.
You didn't have a problem. You don't think people would have a problem? Like I think if people nowadays, like if this movie were to become a big re-release, I really do think there'd be those stupid fucking articles, those clickbait articles.
Oh, I think they were at the time.
Yeah,
I think they were at the time. Yeah, I think that happened. Yeah, sure. Oh, well, I wouldn't doubt it. That's what people are going to do nowadays. And that was when it was really starting to hit. Was 2015. That's
Yeah.
when it started. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I bet you if you look up an article right now, look up Bone Tomahawk Indian, and I'm sure there'll be a story that pops up how that's racist and whatever. Racist Bone Tomahawk depicting Indians in such a way it's just ghastly.
Yes, I was so appalled by it.
Well, the ones I've seen so far are actually saying it's good that it's like it's racist, but not in the way you think.
Right.
Native American perspectives. Okay, let's look at this. This is from redhaircrow.com. It's a Native American website that does movie reviews. Okay.
Interesting.
Deaths were extremely graphic, both visually and audibly, and in a stark brutality and simplistic way. There's nothing of comedic horror in this film, or absurdity, or bloodshed for fun. The reality of their situations were harsh and horrific in the exact sense of the word. And though tagged as horror in genre, I'm not sure it would personally apply. I agree. It's not really a horror, but I get why they would throw that tag on there.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Perspective. Excuse me. It's been researched and statistically proven that films, though fictional, do influence beliefs and stereotypes about other people and cultures in the majority population, many of whom have little personal extended experience with minorities. Sorry, it's justified font, so they do that X dash. It's hard to read.
Ooh, yeah.
Not just on the job, but not in class and in interpersonal or immersive experiences with minorities. This is one of the strong reasons why they also seem not to see racism or racist activities or attitudes in daily life, even if clearly identified minorities are those from the majority who do or have. That is not on the movie at all. That perspective is what I would believe any review of the film has natives in it, especially if it is a Western, of which many still set in the European settlers as heroes and any non-Europeans or native as their adversary, primitive, brutal, or at best a helper, guide, or psychic to whites. That's true. Besides the conversational or confrontational discussions many of us had in countless times on why always showing the European perspective of natives, it takes away natives having their own voice, control of their identities, and certainly their cultures, traditions, and beliefs. I don't know if you can really argue with that because it's so true throughout from the beginning of film when they did Westerns. I want to know this movie specifically. It's not talking about, even the next paragraph doesn't mention this movie specifically.
I think it's in general, and it's Hollywood in General's article.
Oh, here we go. So they talk about Adam Sandler's Ridiculous Six. Sorry, let me just read the paragraph.
Oh, yeah.
Filmmakers historically and today continue to reduce natives to stereotypes statistically definitely proven to be harmful to them, and misinforms yet again a generation of non-natives who apathetically or aggressively dismiss native concerns. Adam Sandler's Ridiculous Six, Eli Roth's Green Inferno, Germany's New Wind 2 are just a few of many wrong, unethical, and simply warrantless, ugly portrayals of the indigenous. Bone Tomahawk has a problem theme in this way as well and deserves discussion. Okay, I'm just curious what they thought. Can't really tell them they're wrong. That's their opinion on it, but I think they did a good enough job, although it was a little heavy-handed for me. Like I mentioned earlier, the guy going, "They're not actually native. They're
Right.
like a fucking they're chuds compared to us."
Pretty much, yeah. Well, yeah, they are basically.
He had
They're
15 lines of
Camels, they're
dialogue
humanoid.
saying how they're not actually
Yeah.
Native Americans. And he goes, "You
Oh,
white
yeah.
people will say they're the same as us." And I think that was the line where he's going, to anyone who bitches about this just in your white, no.
Yeah.
I can see it being a problem for people who are dumb as shit, or for people who are actually this person, whoever wrote this, is native and is just sick of seeing natives. I can understand that, but I liked the way they looked. I liked because they
Yeah.
kind of created their own thing. Like the guy had like
Yeah.
horns on him, and they're cannibals, and they saw people in half. Like that fucking scene is brutal. And I'll be
Well,
honest, I wasn't
it's
thinking
brutal.
about natives when I was watching them. I was thinking of like a chud creature, like a creature almost,
Yeah.
more than I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking about natives at all. So I don't know how accurate. Well, that's just my opinion on the controversy that's undoubtedly going to come up when people watch this in the years to come.
What? I don't know. A movie, a Western movie that all of a sudden they take a man, they cut him in half and cook him and eat him right on screen. You watch the
I
whole
don't
thing,
even
like,
know if they
holy
cooked
shit!
them.
Well, they really went all out on this violence scene here. They really went over the top. They didn't mess around with this one. It reminded me of Terrifier, that awful movie, that stupid
I
clown.
still saying that.
Terrifier. Well, he basically does the same thing to a woman, but she's naked, and he cuts her in half from vag to neck. Like he has her upside down, and he just cuts her in half completely. And it's just like, that's gross. It's like, why am I watching this? I hated Terrifier. I'm not going to see the second one because it's like 2.5 hours long. I can't do that. I can't sit through. I can do these 2.5 hour movies. I can't do that 2.5 hour movie. It's a fucking creepy clown killing people graphically for 2 hours. That's not a movie to me.
Because you don't give a shit about any of the characters. And this,
right? Well, that's the point.
I was like,
yeah,
I was the whole way. I'm like, Kurt Russell better fucking live through this.
Yeah,
all I was thinking.
Yeah,
and then when it finally became clear he wasn't, I was like, he better like be Kurt Russell about this, and he fucking was.
Yeah,
he kills. We don't even know if he's dead. Honestly, you hear him off screen shooting the rest of the men that are in the cave, but you don't hear him die. You don't see him die. He could be alive as far as we know.
He says that wheezing because he got a hole in his lung.
And
how Patrick Wilson,
who
had to break his leg and crawl across the desert for 2 days.
And that's the second part of what I was going to bring up earlier is did the Native American stuff bother you? And then the part B was, or second part was, did all of the Patrick Wilson slowly walking through the desert scenes bother you? Because they were starting to get to me.
No.
And I was fine with them.
Well, at the time, I don't think it did. Yeah, I don't think if I rewatched it, maybe because I know that I think when I first saw it, you're just like, holy shit, is this like what's going on here? Is he gonna make it? He's gonna be the Deus Ex Machina that saves the day. It's kind of like, wow, okay, I guess he is. And that was supposed to be different actors.
Oh, who?
I can't remember.
DiCaprio.
No, Jennifer Carpenter was supposed to be in it. I think Jennifer. No, she was supposed to be in this originally. She dropped out because they kept her.
Thank fucking God they got Lily Simmons in there because I have a thing for her.
Yeah. Oh,
she was a older Catwoman when they flash forward on Gotham.
Oh, okay.
Dear God, who's that? And then she's one of those people that if you look up, you're like, oh, she just wants to be naked all the time and doesn't give a fuck.
I'm fun of that.
Like just all the time, apparently. But I don't know. I like her. I like she's really good in this movie. Very small role in the beginning, and then comes in later when they finally get her, when they finally find her. And she doesn't play up the damsel in distress thing. She's just kind of like, hi guys. When they all show up, she's like, this sucks. This is hell. Welcome.
Right. So the original
She
The original
screams at him
cast.
for leading the 4 Rock thing for Patrick Wilson to follow. She's just mad at them, starts screaming at him like, "You fucking killed him!"
So 2012, this was going to be shot. Peter Sarsgaard and Jennifer Carpenter were set to play the O'Dwyers, and Timothy Oliphant was going to play John Bruder.
Matthew Fox's role. Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Timothy, I could see Oliphant. He did a similar role in a couple things though. So,
Yeah. Well, he's been a cowboy in a lot of stuff.
but
That's his
I don't know.
thing.
I like this cast better. This cast really worked because it's a good mixture of really handsome actors who are put in these very brutal positions where they look like shit. And that's always a really good
Yes.
sign. like
Yeah,
David
yeah.
Arquette looks like shit in this, and he's a handsome dude. Matthew Fox looks fine, and then suddenly he has a hero death, or he sets himself up for a hero death, I should say, where he's like, "Give me the dynamite," and the repeater. And he grabs the gun. He's like, "I'm going to take out as many as I can. You guys go ahead and go." And he's like setting
Yeah.
himself up for a hero death. He
Yeah.
kills 0 extra people after he does that. He does
Yeah.
nothing else. He immediately gets hit in the head with an axe, with a
Yeah.
bone tomahawk, I should say.
Yeah.
Immediately. So he has the death that Patrick Wilson really has in the end, or I guess Kurt Russell
Yeah.
has. He has the death, but
Yeah.
he has the hero death because when they did Kurt Russell's scene and he's like, "Leave me the repeater," he does the exact same line to Richard Jenkins, and I'm like, "Oh God, here we go." Round 2 of this, and he's like, he actually does some damage off screen though. It was a good little
Yeah.
setup. I did have a little bit of problem, but I didn't fast forward with how much walking it was,
Mm.
I was like, okay, I got it. I understood. Some of the scenes were a little bit long, but I was like, I don't know if I would cut them at all. They weren't annoying
Right.
long, but I'm like, got
Yeah.
it. Can we please? Yes, he's walking. I understand.
Right. Well,
It's
sometimes with a movie like this,
minor critique.
well, I think because the movie is so violent and graphically violent, you need that breathing time in between.
Yeah.
Where like you have those long stretches where it's like you're just relaxing because you don't know what's coming, you don't want to know what's coming. And all of a sudden, boom, the guy gets cut in half and cooked on an open fire.
Everything is
fuck?
so fast.
It is scary.
Because it's Richard Jenkins and Kurt Russell, and they're like, and Matthew Fox. They're all like creeping up on this little crevice where it narrows down, and Matthew Fox is like, "You guys stay here. I'll hold the rock, and if you don't hear from me in 30 seconds, you fucking leave."
Yeah.
And they slowly go through it, and he's fine. And then immediately, all hell breaks loose right there. And I love when Patrick Wilson does show up. He looks down and sees all their stuffs there because those guys were in such a hurry to just eat the bodies and take the bodies that they weren't concerned.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'll have to take the long way."
Yeah.
And you're thinking as an audience member, or at least I was, I'm like, "Oh God, we have to watch him climb up the long way." We've been watching him walk, but no, they cut. He's off screen for all of that, and he just appears and you start shooting when Kurt Russell gets killed, and then he actually does save Kurt Russell's life momentarily, but because he's about to shoot him in the dick.
Yeah.
I will say one more thing, and then we can move on. One of the greatest fake outs I've ever seen in a movie, because Patrick Wilson's leg is infected. Richard Jenkins' chicory is like, "We have to take this leg," and Patrick Wilson's like, "No, absolutely not. Give me the opium stuff. Take the rest for my wife, and leave me a little bit. Keep my fucking leg here. You guys leave." And they're like, "Yeah, we'll do that." You see Patrick Wilson pass out, and immediately you're like, "They're gonna take his leg because he's asleep already. They might as well." And they even do a wide shot. I could show it. They do a wide shot where you see his leg is covered up by a bush. And I go, "There you go." I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, "All right, he's going to wake up and his leg's going to be gone." And here we go. And then you're waiting. And they don't show Patrick Wilson for like 25 minutes. and he wakes up and his leg is still there. And I'm like, "Oh, you fuckers." Like, what a weird fake out. You got me on something that I didn't know I cared about. It was so weird. That's right here. I have the scene. Hold on. Here it is. Here it comes. There it is.
Where we are.
They keep doing these wide shots.
You can't go anywhere on that leg. It needs to be operated on. Mr. O'Dwyer. Look at it.
Look at.
It's right after this. Okay. Oh shit. Right here. You can't tell me this is an accident. They purposely cover his leg up. You can't see it. It's clearly there to make you think they cut it off while he was asleep. Every shot is involving that bush. Like,
Right.
just keeps going and going. Like, and then he wakes up. He's like, "Oh!" And he keeps going. Like, God damn! Come on.
I love the symmetry of the bush.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. This movie was fantastic. I gave it an 8.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an 8. I enjoyed this movie when I first saw it, and still to this day I'll catch it and watch it if it's on. Like it's one of those movies where you're like, oh, Bone Tomahawk, I haven't seen this in a while. Revisit this for a minute. You know, watch the whole damn thing.
Now that I've seen it, I will definitely do that. But I was like so reluctant because you know how I hate those just miserable for the sake of being miserable movies?
Right? Yeah.
I thought that's what this was going to be.
Yeah.
It looks like that from the outside looking in. Like it just looks like it would. Yeah, it's a Western, but then it gets very brutal, and I'm like, they're not going to care about their characters, and
Right.
And then that was not what happened here. It was so well shot and so well acted, and like care taken in these characters.
Oh,
And they don't
absolutely.
just he doesn't just fuck them over in the script just for the sake of shock value. Like they get away in the end. And I was waiting for the end where they arrive at home and then the guy pops out because one gets away and then and he kills him. But no, they just credits. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, thank you. Like,
Yeah, no, none of that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time when they were all doing that, it's Marvel's fault. They're all post-credit sequences.
No, I thought it was gonna be before the credits.
That's good. Like Bone Talk, Kurt Russell. You cut to Kurt Russell, and he's in the pit with 1,000 of them going no, and they're all eating him at the same time.
Oh, and it gets hard, and there's a big monster one. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, he's the big bad guy for the next one. Yeah, none of that.
He's the god. He's the monster god. Yeah.
They get away. We don't need to know if they survive the trip back. That's not the point.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We assume they do because he has proven at this point he's a survivor and he's gonna make it home. That's all you need to know. We're out of here. Perfect ending.
Yeah.
Really a very, very well made movie. And I was like, God damn, I wish I didn't wait so long to watch that. But it was the reluctance of just negative. You know, those movies that are so negative all the time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
God. But this is a fantastic fucking movie, and I wish I didn't wait so long. Oh God, what was the thing I was going to mention? Should we move on to the next, or? Yeah, let's move on to the next.
All right.
I had one more note, and I can't remember what it was. It's escaping my brain.
I just can't believe that Brawl's your number one. That's good. I like Brawl, but yeah, I always felt like Bone Talk was a little bit more legit, and this one was more grindhousey, sort of sleazy, slutty, dirty slut Vince Vaughn,
slutty cousin.
You fucking whore.
I will say, I finished Bone Tomahawk, and I was like, that was fucking fantastic. I love that movie, and immediately because I was watching a Bone Tomahawk on Hulu. So, by the way, I got a good laugh because Lily Simmons is fucking riding Patrick Wilson, you know, in the beginning. She's like, and he's like,
right, yeah.
Let's do this right. And she's like, is that a critique on my moves? And he goes, no, just credit. It goes to commercials. And I was like, are you doing commercials in the middle of a sex scene? And it cuts back and he flips her over and fucks her there. But I'm like, what a weird spot for commercials.
That is weird. Yeah. Oh God.
Like, they did, and it's so weird to watch commercials in a very, very violent movie. Hulu is
that is weird. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Hulu is great for TV shows because they have ad breaks. Movies do not, and it's so fucking awkward.
Yeah, that's annoying. Yeah,
so weird. But they only do like 3, and they do it in the first 40 minutes, and after that, the last hour and a half, you watch it completely uninterrupted. So I'm fine with it. whatever.
No.
So
Oh yeah,
I'm
because
glad they weren't.
you're supposed to.
He's not
Right.
sawing his genitals and pulling the legs apart, and they're like, "Hey, check
Brought
out
to you by
extremely new
Mentos.
product." Yeah, they're not doing that. Hungry? Why wait?
Why wait?
God,
McDonald's.
he's eating a person. Can you?
Ba-ba-ba-ba.
But anyway, it ends, and I immediately turn on Brawl and Cellblock 99 because it's also on Hulu. And I was like, you know, fuck it, I'll start it now. It's not too late because I finished this in 2 nights. So I watched the last like 25 minutes of Bone Tomahawk, and then I was like, yeah, so early, put this on. Watch the whole fucking movie that night. That's a good sign. I stayed up so late watching this fucking thing.
That's a
And I was
long
like,
movie too. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it. 2 hours 12 minutes. They're both 2 hours 12 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't look away the whole movie, the entire whole movie. I don't know. I don't know what it was about this. Vince Vaughn is so goddamn good in this movie. I didn't
He
expect
is good.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. When I first saw this, I was like, I'll give it a shot. I like Bone Tomahawk, and it was Vince Vaughn. That's gonna be kind of weird, but he won me over. Vince Vaughn was so fucking great in this man. He's badass. He beats the shit out of everybody. He's just such a badass brawler. He does such a good job of being that tough guy. He's like Bronson. It's like this is the American Bronson in a sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was going to be one of the first things I said is, well, Vince Vaughn is 6'5" in real life, and on the poster you see behind us right there, I finally fixed our names up above. By the way, I didn't realize they were in the wrong above the wrong person, but anyway, he's 6'5" in real life, and he's always been like, he started off as a really skinny tall dude, now then he became the big fat tall dude, and for this movie he like started doing boxing lessons and got really in shape.
Yeah.
And I was watching him, like, I couldn't stop staring at his body. I'm like, God damn, he's massive.
Yeah,
He's a big dude. And he's I don't know, it's a role where he just walks through everything. There's like people shooting at him, and he's just walking the big awkward walk he does. And you know that shootout they have with the 2 partners he's working with, and he betrays them.
Yeah.
He just mows them down with a gun and then gets arrested, and he just like keeps walking toward the next thing, whatever that awful next thing is the best way I can describe this movie. He just keeps it is Dante's Inferno, because he's just marching toward the next level of hell.
Yep.
He's just going, and he's got his reasons, and we know what they are in the movie. And in Dante's Inferno, you know what they are, but in the end, it's just I'm a convicted man, and I'm gonna go through this to get what I want, what I need.
Right. Yeah.
What's the right thing for my life? And he just keeps walking, literally walking from one scene to the next awful scene.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stop. I thought it was going to be a really slow progression because it takes like 45 minutes for him to even get arrested. And then for a movie called Brawl and Cell Block, you're like, he gets arrested. And you see the poster, and it, like right behind us, it's right, his head in front of the chart. He clearly gets arrested. He's in an orange jumpsuit, and
the only reason he, and so the one scene that I always like is when he kills that cop accidentally, and he knows he did it accidentally. And he knows he's done. He knows that was the end of it. Because remember that scene where he slams the cop's head in the door and it kills him. He didn't mean to do it because he threw it too hard, and he was like. And he knows that's his death sentence. He knows he's not getting out of there alive.
Car door, which one?
The prison door, where he kills the prison guard. And John Johnson's like, "I'm gonna kill you now, boy. I'm gonna kill you now. You kill one of my men." And he knows immediately he's dead. That was his death sentence. Yeah.
Yes,
he did such a good job.
He goes, "You stupid motherfucker."
Yeah,
he just ruined his life too, and he knows that.
Yeah, he's done.
But he's not blaming him solely.
No.
Like, there's some responsibility there.
Yeah, but it's just for his wife to survive, and it's all about his wife and his kid. And that's it.
Can I say this? And I'm going to completely mean it. I think Vince should have got nominated for this movie.
I think that was talk when it came out. There was talk of that, but I don't think it was. No one's gonna fucking. No, they're not going to give a movie like this an Oscar
nominate. You're not going to give it to him. I get that.
I know, but they're
nominate.
They wouldn't do that anyway. They don't like Vince Vaughn.
I think Vince Vaughn is kind of they don't like
Vince Vaughn. Doesn't give a fuck about left wing Hollywood.
Well, that's the thing. He's an apolitical guy. He doesn't care.
No, it's
because like
Vince Vaughn is
they gave him shit because he shook Trump's hand at a Super Bowl, and he goes, "Well, I shake everybody's hand. I mean, I shook Hillary Clinton's hand. I met her. I was cordial to her too. I'm cordial to everybody. I'm not going to be mean to somebody because of politics. That's not who I am."
and this is something I brought up when I
He
was
doesn't give
watching
a
this
shit.
movie because me and my wife watched this entire movie together, and I
Oh
go,
wow.
you know, Vince Vaughn seems like one of those guys that seems like an asshole, but I've never heard one bad word about him.
No.
Even Adam
Yeah.
Carolla,
Yeah.
I used to listen to his podcast, and he used to live right next door to Vince Vaughn. He's like, he's the fucking greatest guy.
Yeah.
He'll come on over. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, he's like, I'll go to Vince Vaughn's house, and he's like super nice, and there's people over there, and he's like, he just says he's the greatest guy in the world, and I'm like, I was okay. So I was
believe
watching
it.
this, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I love Vince Vaughn. I already like Vince Vaughn. I do. I don't like him in it. I
Yeah.
don't like the comedies he's in. Like, I don't like Wedding Crashers or Old School. I don't
Right.
particularly care for those, but I do like. I love
Swingers.
Swingers. Thank you. I was blanking on the name.
Made and Swingers.
Yeah,
Made.
the
I like
John
Made.
Favreau movies, his early, because he's
Yeah.
like best friends with him, and
Yeah.
so that's what I know about Vince Vaughn. And then I'm watching this, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, he's so fucking good right away. And I was like, okay, we got a problem here, because I think I like this already more than Bone Tomahawk, because Vince Vaughn is just like drawing me in. And then he has that scene where he gets fired and he goes home. This is right away, by the way. He goes home and he's Jennifer Carpenter's on the phone, and he just pulls her out of the car, and he's like, give me your phone. And he goes through it, and she's like, I've been cheating on you for 3 months. And he throws her phone against the house, and that's clearly just Vince Vaughn throwing a phone at a house. And it didn't look Hollywood; it just looked real. And then Vince is like, he's not going to hurt her, which you don't know the character at this point. So he's like, go inside.
Right.
I was like, oh, he's gonna think about, and he goes, like I told you, we were texting, and he goes E Honda on a car.
Yeah.
He just like punching the shit out of this car. And I was watching, and I'm like, that's just Vince Vaughn punching a car to pieces.
Yeah.
And I did read after the fact that they did make it slightly easier, that he didn't hurt himself like on the metal. But I'm like, that's still him just beating a car with his bare hands.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn, he's terrifying. So right off the bat, he's beating up a car, and you're like, don't fuck with Vince Vaughn in this movie. God damn.
Yeah, he's just a fucking brawler, bro. Brawler in Cell Block 99.
So your comparisons of Bronson are completely accurate, because I was thinking the exact same thing, but this character is way more interesting to me because he's not just wacky,
right.
Crazy,
but,
wacky.
Yeah. Well, because Bronson was a true story, it's a little different, but this is more of a, like I said, grindhouse version of it. So it's going to be more narrative, and you're going to have more story elements that work for a plot, as opposed to just this guy's day in his life in prison or whatever. With Tom Hardy.
And it's a grindhouse-y movie with a character you actually care about, which is so unlike a grindhouse movie. Like most grindhouse movies, you don't give a fuck about anyone.
Right.
Not really.
Yeah.
But it's Vince Vaughn does a job for his boss, and he's very loyal, and they get money, and he gets his wife pregnant.
Right. Yeah.
Just to fast forward, because I don't want to spend too much time on this, but he gets her pregnant. He goes on another job with three other guys, and he knows one of them is a junkie. He doesn't like him right off the bat. And it's a dude who's like really big in the movie, but in real life, you look at him, he's like a really tiny guy. I'm like, how is he her trauma? So he does like a weird Bane voice. Bradley. That voice he does is so strange. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
I'll play a clip. He has a line, because Vince Vaughn gets out and kills a couple of those guys later, but I'm going to play this guy's voice. Because he pokes him, and then he stomps on his head, and then you hear, that's right here. God damn it. Sorry, it's going to be hard to find the exact spot here.
My condolences.
Oh, it's just before that. God damn it. 152.47. 152. Right here.
Blanco.
That. Blanco. He sounds like a superhero movie, like a bad guy. But okay, so to fast forward, if I could, he goes to jail because he has a chance to get away, but he's like, they're just shooting down these innocent cops, and they're gonna get arrested and like stupid shit. And he's like, all right. And he goes back up there and he kills one of the guys with a gun. Then he runs away again, jumps in the water, and the guy throws a grenade and it blows up in his foot. And then he gets out and But the only complaint I had with the editing and the length was this one scene where he's trying to climb up the pole of the dock, and it takes him like
right.
5 fucking minutes to get up. And I'm like, this is a good spot to cut, honestly.
Well, he likes those long takes.
He does, and I'm like, I get why he's doing that, but like maybe start on the third attempt, not so much the first one.
Right? Yeah.
I get it, but
Yeah.
my wife was like, "Holy shit, come on!" I was like, "Right," but I was like, "All right." So he gets up there and he shoots the other guy and bashes his head in the car. I don't know what cop you're talking about, by the way.
The prison guard.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
The prison guard.
You did say that, and you're right.
Yeah, he actually, because he's using him as a hostage.
That's way later. Yeah.
Yeah, it's way later, but that's when he realizes that he's done, and he's like,
okay. Sorry,
that's his death sentence. He knows.
I got sidetracked and I forgot that I
Right.
understood what you're saying already.
Because Don Johnson is the warden,
Yeah.
and he has all his rules, and it's his prison, but not really his prison kind of thing.
Well, first he goes to minimum security, and then he gets in fights there, and
Yeah.
that's all. You think everything's set up like it's gonna be so fucking important that the guy's like, "You're gonna be a boxer for me. Come on, you're
Yeah.
gonna be." And then he like does his daily routine, and then like day 2, the guy's like, "All right, come on back to the hill." And then we already saw a scene where Udo Kier's like, "We have your wife. We're gonna kill the baby. The guy's gonna snip off its arms, and we're gonna send him to you. Unless you kill this guy in cell block 99 in this maximum security prison."
Right.
So he's like, he doesn't even say anything. He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Immediately breaks that guy's arm and bends it backwards and breaks it. And then he gets to that prison, and Don Johnson makes him strip outside, and he just does it. And then he
That's right.
immediately has to get into the worst of the worst cell blocks. It turns out.
Yeah.
Gets there. It's like Shutter Island, like the place where the Firefly was kept in Shutter Island.
Yeah.
It's just like the darkest, deepest hole. It's Dante's Inferno. It's just the worst.
Yeah.
Climbing to the
that's it,
center of hell.
Yeah.
Get what you have to get. Because he gets in there and Don Johnson puts him on a belt and it like electrocutes him. And it just keeps escalating. Where like you get 5 shocks for every infraction. We're going to do them randomly when you're pissing, when you're eating, blah, 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 blah. And then he's like, does anyone know what the fuck is the name they give him? And Udo Kier tells him the person he has to kill. It's like Craig, whatever.
Yeah, I
can't remember what the name was.
I
think it's right. There's so many, so many violent. This one has violent scenes throughout.
This one, which is why I think the difference between Bo Tomahawk and this one. Bo Tomahawk's a slow burn. This one is like an action movie. It's like it's got set pieces throughout the movie where he's fighting
various prisoners and in the various places in the like this. Yeah, great.
It did, but also I was watching this and I wasn't really thinking. I wasn't like, yes, here we go. I was like, okay, what's he gonna do here?
Yeah.
I wasn't watching it like it was an action sequence. I was watching it like it was character development, because it is.
Right.
It's strange to see from a fighting sequence. My wife was just laughing because she thought these fight scenes were just ridiculous, and I was like, "It's a style.
It's all one shot.
Yeah, it's all one shot. It's all stylistic.
No cutaways. It's
yeah,
great.
I didn't bother describing why I liked him.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
He got his grill in his elbow. I don't want to play too much, but goddamn, I love watching this movie. It just keeps going and going.
No, he's great.
And then,
this is a filmmaker that I like to see what he's doing next. I'm excited about what he's doing next. So I hope he makes a movie soon because it's been a while. But again, COVID kind of screwed everything up. So he's probably 2 years
6
behind.
years, 5 years now. His next movie is Hug Chicken Penny.
Right.
And I wish I was making that title up.
Is there anybody attached to it, or has even started
No.
shooting, or no?
I might be able to see the preliminary cast. The panegyric of an anomalous child. So he wrote the book. This is based on his book,
Okay, yeah.
but I don't know. See preliminary cast. Can I have IMDb Pro. Why can't I? Okay, so I'll sign in there later and do it. I guess. Whatever. I don't know. I fucking love this movie. I still give it an 8, just like I did Bone Tomahawk, but it is a higher 8 than Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, so you'd be like an 8.5 to an 8.
Yeah, it's like just above, but I did enjoy this one more.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think because it just the pace is a lot better. It's a quicker movie, and there's more to see. And Bo Tomahawk is kind of dry, slow western. But again, because that's his first movie, the budget is probably really small, and he was doing it to prove himself. And this one, he went like, "Well, I can get a bigger budget, well, somewhat of a bigger budget, and just have what I want to do with these violent action sequences, and just do them."
I mean, which is funny because he didn't spend much money on the prison because there's never that big crowd of prisoners.
Right? Yeah.
4 to 5 people.
It's all isolated,
most.
one room fights.
All one room fights
great,
with 3 people in there, one person at a time. It's all super subdued. There's not like a big grand thing, other than when the guards come out when he first gets to that maximum security prison.
Right.
There's a couple wide shots of them with their guns. Other than that, no big. Even the trial was like, "You're sentenced. All right, bye." And it's like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's it. 7 years. Have fun. But you are right though. When he gets into that spot where he realizes he has to kill those guys because there is nobody that he's supposed to kill. He's just there to be tortured by the guys he betrayed and their boss that we met previously. That's the whole fucking reason he's there. That's the reality of what's going on. You're going to be tortured for 7 years. Otherwise, we're going to kill your wife and baby.
Yeah.
7 years of that. And like after day 1, he's like, nope.
Yeah.
Up with a separate plan. And he's so methodical because he folds the soles of his shoes and puts them in the electrodes in the back.
Yeah.
He comes out and he's like, he kills those guys in the room and he's like grabs the boss by the leg and breaks his leg backward. Fucking brutal.
Oh yeah, the violence is great. Yeah.
Make the call, release my wife, release my baby, and then I'll let you fucking live. Otherwise, I'm gonna throw you one of these rapists. They're gonna rape you bloody, I think is what he says.
Yeah.
He's on the phone.
Oh,
Fucking brutal. And they let her go, and then the one boss, Vince Vaughn's boss, just immediately kills the guy, Udo Kier, and the abortionist doctor.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I think it's a more satisfying movie because it has the brutalness. It has the reasoning. Like I felt way more for his character than I did, anyone in Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
That movie's not about that really. It's about survival in general. And this, you kind of get the feeling that Vince Vaughn knows he's not going to survive this at a certain point. And
yeah.
especially when he kills that prison guard, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
When he does that, he's like, fuck it. All right, it's over. Nothing I can do.
Yeah.
That's the first person he kills in the movie, other than the gangster that, and the thing that got him arrested.
Yeah. I don't remember. Off the top of my head.
There's 2 guys that the reason he gets arrested because he comes back and shoots those 2 guys, and one of the guys he kills. The guys he was working with, those fuckheads. Which one of them ends up surviving is in later, and then he has to kill. He kills that Asian guy and stomps on his head and drags him across the concrete. This movie should have been called "Dragged Across Concrete." Drags him across, and they show his skull. And there's no skin there. It's fucking brutal, man. This movie, he stomps on so many goddamn heads at the end of this. He stomps off Elazar's head, and it goes like down into the sewers. It's fucking brutal.
I know.
It's disgusting, but you can't take your eyes off it. It's
not just it's like the most disgusting open. It's like the fucking it's the cesspool to the prison, basically, just where the shit goes. That's where he bashes his head. into it and he breaks it up with his foot, and then Don Johnson shoots him and kills him. That's the end.
When he had the phone in his hand,
Yeah,
okay, when he killed that guy, you're right. When he killed that prison guard on accident, because he goes, "You stupid fuck," because the prison guard just pops his head out and he shuts it like instinctively, and he's like, "Oh, fuck, I killed him."
yeah,
You know he's dead. He's not going to survive this movie. But when he gets on the phone with his wife, you realize he knows it, she knows it,
yeah,
and Don Johnson knows it.
yeah.
And it's like this, the rest of that scene, because Vince Vaughn starts crying, and you never see him cry in the movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know, it's heartbreaking, but also like not at the same time.
Right. It works in this movie. The context of the whole thing, it works. You're just like, oh wow.
And that's why I connected to this movie more, because there's actually like human emotions in this.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
Bone Tomahawk really doesn't have.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to find the ending where it's just after this, because he gets off the phone, then he stomps on his head. Should I show the?
I think so.
Why
That's
not?
the best part. It's not.
It's very cartoonish almost.
Yeah, it's very cartoony.
Because you don't see the head pop off; you see the aftermath.
I'll give money.
You won't.
You won't. He does. Don Johnson's like,
What's going on in there?
Bradley.
I'm executing Eleazar. I still
Execute
Wow.
Eleazar.
5 seconds.
I watched this ending 3 times, by the way.
Ah!
I told you, I was like fascinated by this movie.
That's hilarious.
This is going to be like in my top 100, I think. This one.
Oh, sure.
Bone Tomahawk probably will eventually, but this one's going to be quickly rising the ranks.
Wow.
I
there you
loved
go.
this movie.
Yeah.
It's probably, I want to watch it again, and it's probably going to go to a 9. Right now it's an 8, but
Oh, okay.
man, I was impressed. They say when a
Say the
human,
head stays alive for a little while after it's been cut off.
oh, that's true.
I hope so.
There is more, because, like you said, Don Johnson comes in and he's like, "Are you done, Mr. Thomas?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, he knows it.
And then you see like Don Johnson just handing on his gun at his hip and just pull it up, and you're like, everyone knows what's going on. You
Yeah.
characters, and you're just waiting, and you're like,
He
and there he
knows.
goes. He shoots him, and it's brutal. It's, of course, that Craig Zahler likes to do the head exploding, apparently, because this one's not as funny as it is with Dragged Across Concrete with Jennifer Carpenter's head exploding.
Right. Yeah.
And then you see that guy's dick is shot off, which means there was someone in the back room in Dragged
Yeah,
Across
yeah.
Concrete. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I saw the IMDb
Yeah.
trivia. Yeah, I was like, oh shit, that's funny.
I paused it last night when I watched it. I was like, wait. I was freeze framing, and I was like, and then I saw the trivia, and I'm like, oh, that's what I saw. I didn't remember the line, so I'm glad I saw the trivia. But I was like, oh my god. But he
You got
loves
stoned.
blowing up heads. Just again, that's the grindhouse effect. That's the
Well, sure, that's the thing. Yeah, that's why these movies are a
Fantastic.
specific genre. Yeah, and that's what, like I said, this is what Rob Zombie should be, and he's better at it than Rob Zombie.
And the funny thing is, he's more like Tarantino than he is Rob Zombie, because
Right? Yeah.
the difference between Tarantino and Rob Zombie is expert craft of delaying tension. That's
Yeah.
Tarantino, and Rob Zombie's just, here's things. And Craig Zahler is like right here next to Tarantino with like delaying the gratification of violence or the
Yeah.
gratification
Yeah.
of the scene itself,
Right.
because he drags it out. Even though you know what's going to happen, you're still waiting in anticipation. And
He drags it across concrete.
the movies themselves, the runtimes are dragged across concrete.
Absolutely.
And holy shit, I can't wait for more movies from this guy. He's become like my new Mike Flanagan, even though he's not.
Well, now I'm kind of curious about his books. I'm kind of curious about his books. I should
I wonder what they're like.
and read them, see what they're like. 'Cause I know he's a heavy metal artist. He has like a rock band.
He's a part of a
really?
band. Yeah, he's like, I think he's got death metal or black metal, something like that. He's like a metal band.
I can see that looking at him, like
Yeah.
looking at his picture here.
Yeah, I
I'll
think he's in
show
a
him.
band. Yeah,
He
but
looks
it's
like he's really into vampire culture.
he's like David Eggers.
Look at him. He just looks
Yeah.
like one of those guys that reads a lot of vampire fiction. Here's
I really,
the monster that is Jennifer Carpenter.
I really appreciate the Vampire Criminal Chronicles of Anne Rice.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just
It's funny because he looks like a normal dude,
yeah.
but then he makes these movies are great.
Just
But I love him. I think he's
violent
great.
fucking movies.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I like him a lot, and now I'm kind of curious. You should probably pick up his novels and see if they're, because I'm sure they're interesting. But she's like Nick Cave. All these musicians are great writers and great movie makers. It's
Nick
like for
Cave
some
or
reason,
Nick Cage.
Nick Cave.
You know I'm a
It's-
big Nick Cave fan.
Yeah, for the Proposition, and he did another one. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but he did another one.
I love Nick Cave. He's what I listen to after we're done with our show.
Nick
Every
Cave.
single time I listen to Nick Cave.
Red Right Hand.
Beforehand, I listen to No Effects. Afterwards, listen to Nick Cave just to
Yeah.
calm down, and just kind of do my thing. And
Right. Yeah.
I
I'm
don't
gonna calm
believe
down, do my
in
thing.
interventionist God. Like, what a weird. I love him. Anyway,
I'm Nick Cave.
I saw some girl at my old job that had a Nick Cave tattoo right here.
Jesus,
And I walk up to her and her boyfriend. I go, I'm sorry, I got to stop you. Is that a Nick Cave tattoo? And she's like, nobody has ever recognized that. And I was like, wow, that's clearly him.
Wow.
He's a strange looking man, I should say.
Yes, he is. He's very strange looking.
He's a very specific looking man. He's like a Steve Buscemi. He's only not ugly.
He's handsomer than Steve Buscemi.
Yes, that's why I qualified it after.
Right. Yes,
But
exactly.
he's very specifically, that's Nick Cave on your arm. I'm not going to confuse that with someone else. S. Craig Zahler. I want to know what the S stands for. Do I call him Craig? Do I call him Craig Zahler?
I think Zahler is a better name. Zahler's like a cool name like Zardoz.
But-
Zahler.
But do we
Hey,
just
what's
call
up?
him
I'm
Craig
Zahler.
Zahler? I kind of want to ignore
guess
the S part because it's
I guess
pissing me
Craig-
off.
Craig Zahler worked.
Craig Zahler. Okay. I will say this. You are definitely on my radar with Jeremy Saulner. You kind of remind me of him. The Green Book, the Blue Ruin, those kind of
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
The grindhousey punk rock attitude
Yeah.
for movie making, but also
Right.
you're very skilled at what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between you and the Rob Zombie.
Right.
The Robert Zombie, if you will. I know I like these kind of guys that just are doing their thing. They're not because he had an opportunity to trim this movie. I'm sorry, Drive Across Concrete to trim that movie.
Yeah. I
get
saw
in the
that.
theaters, and he said no.
No, it's my movie.
Like, all right, we're gonna release it immediately, and they didn't because he had a final cut, and they're like, all right, we'll release it this way. And I saw it that way. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
I paid money for that movie when it came out. I rented it.
Sure. Yeah.
Goddamn, it's working for him. I don't know. I hope he does more, and I think when he does more movies, we should review them immediately.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel the same way about Jeremy Saulner. I don't know. I like that guy too. He has
Yeah,
an
I do too.
interesting
I was
point of
going to
view
say,
and good at it.
I couldn't remember his name off the top of my head, but yeah, Blue Ruin and Green Room, another set of movies that are kind of akin to these, where
Yeah.
they're just like they're brutally violent and they go down a path that's more character driven. You're just like, oh shit,
Yeah.
it's more than what you think it's going to be.
Yes, it's his are more moody and like characters that are very flawed.
And they're always
doing their thing.
They
But
always have a color title, right?
yeah, and Craig Zahler's is not as moody and it's kind of just you're there for the story. And if I don't know, I like, we say this before, I say this a lot, but I like hanging out in his movies. 2.5 hours,
Right.
4 hours. If he does a 5-hour cut of a movie, I'll probably sit there and watch the whole fucking thing.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah.
at this point, I trust him because he's 3 for 3 in my eyes. I loved all 3 of his movies,
Right.
and I'm looking forward to what he has next. He's become one of those guys. I'm just very excited to see what he produces, and I hope he keeps working. I hope he doesn't just start literally producing instead of directing
Yeah.
or just writing because he thinks directing in Hollywood is too much of an ordeal at this point. I don't know. I really hope more for him. The problem is going to be to tamper expectations for future movies at this point.
That's always the dangerous part of it.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Oh,
some of my favorite bands, their new albums, and I'm like, oh, this is because my expectations are way too high.
Like, well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
that's the trick of being an artist. You got to wow them every time. It's what have you done for me lately kind of an attitude. I don't care what you did 20 years ago. What did you do for me last year? It's like, well,
I mean,
shit.
it's worse in sports, but it's definitely true in art as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Sorry, what were you looking
But
at?
yeah, so oh no, that was all.
But I'm gonna say, do you want to watch that Die Hard thing?
You watched it. It's 20 minutes. We
Yeah.
can,
Well, I mean,
but
I'd
do
say
you want to
off-
give a
off-
synopsis of it, or do you want to watch it?
No, I kind of want to watch it again because there's some interesting
Okay.
stuff in there, but I don't know if you knew.
because that was stuff that I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Things.
And oh yeah, the Jonathan Henslow, the Jonathan
you
Hensley
know
stuff with
about
Simon
Die
Says.
Hard.
Oh, that's right. There's a Crow connection to Die Hard 3.
Can you let
It
me
would've-
know
If
which
Crow, if Russ,
video
if
this is?
if Brandon Lee didn't die, Die Hard 3 would not exist.
Is this top one?
I can't
20
tell.
minutes. Minty comedic arts.
Yeah, Minty. Yeah, it's Minty.
Okay.
It's from a couple days ago, but I don't know if you
Okay.
want
Want to record this or take it off?
We'll
Not
record
record
a couple minutes and then. Actually, let's pause here. Perfect time.
There you go.
What do you want to do next week?
Oh, movie wise, I don't know. Give me. I'll look at the list and I'll tell you later.
Okay, we'll figure it out afterwards. Go to
I'll figure it
lawstudios.com.
out.
Check out the live. There's a button there that says live show. Check out the schedule. But otherwise, we'll be back with something. Don't know what it is. Until next time, in the meantime, I'm Phoenix West.
Dick Ticket.
So long, citizens.
Fuck you, everybody. Good night.